Gosport Railworks. My name is James and today I'll be showing you how to use XTrkCAD because I have noticed that there's a lot of people who are new to the hobby quite liking my videos, mainly the beginner layout series. So I figured why not go a bit more into depth for new people. This is actually my second attempt to try to record this video, then I realised it wasn't picking up everything which I needed it to pick up, so I decided why not do it again. But as you can see, I've got XTrkCAD loaded up here. This is not what you'll see completely when you first load the program up, as you won't have all these little pieces here, and you definitely won't have a layout set here. So when we get when we first start off, we'll probably more or less have, first of all, when you click File New, you'll get layout options, and you'll get room width in inches and also height also in inches. This is just so you can specify how large your layout is going to be. So I'm going to do a standard 2 foot by 4 foot. So there we go. You can give it a title, a subtitle. This is where you set the scale. I've got it to you can, even though this doesn't really matter much to the pieces, as long as you get the right letter. So N, N, N. So I'll be selecting N to even though it's the American one or continental. You've got track gauge. This is for standard and also narrow gauge. So if you have narrow gauge pieces, so just click OK. It basically specifies which track set to use, from what I understand. And this is what you end up with. Like I said, you won't end up with all these pieces when you first install the program, and some of these buttons will be in different spots. You can reconfigure them. I can't remember how to do that at the moment, but it shouldn't be. Actually, there we go. That's how you reconfigure them. You just take off all the ones which you want or not want. I have them set like that because that's what I use really. I will go into depth of each of these buttons in a minute. But first, to set up the pieces, so we go to File, Parameter Files. You do have to download these all separately. This will be completely blank when you first load up the program. So you click on Browse, and then you find where the parameter files are. So, for instance, the ones that I've got are stuffed them in XTrkCAD, main folder, Share, XTrkCAD, and Params. And then you just basically select which track system you want to use. I've already got all my ones which I want. But let's say we want to load up Ormby Duplo freeware with turntable. You just basically click on it, or click on multiple ones, so then click Unpin. Then it will load them up here automatically, and it will be ticked. If it all ticks, they're actively being used by the program. If you want to unload them, you basically click on it to highlight it, click Unload, and then it will stop using them. It will still show up in this menu till you close the program, then you have to re-find it again. So I'll leave them alone because I don't want to play around with them. So yes, then you get all these bits of files here. I don't think you get the pieces, piece names by default. I think I have set that up. Again, I don't remember where, but if you hover over them, it does tell you what the pieces are, and also radius. As you can see, it does say the radius and also in millimeters, so very useful. At the moment, I've got most of the Pico set track pieces here, which I'll be going into depth. Well, I'll be building a basic layout with them for you. Anyway, let's go quick bit into all the commands. So undo last command. That's obvious. It can also use the keyboard control of Control Z. There's also redo last command. I can't remember the keyboard control for that one. Easements is basically for FlexiTrack. It's basically so that you can specify what is a curve which is too tight. So you can set a value in here, and it will work out itself, or just use the none, which will mean you can set any kind of track and it will be classed as valid in the program. However, I will doubt any loco will be able to run on it, other than some odd ones, but have a go if you really want to. Sharp is what I use as standard. It's basically 9 inch, 9 3/4 inch is the minimum value. This doesn't affect set track, and I don't know what these two are, but it's never really bothered me. Then we set the book, normal, board, and this is compute. I don't know how that works, but I'll just leave it alone really. So I set that back to sharp. This is for snap grid. I don't quite remember how that works, but you can play around with it. I haven't really worked out what it works. This is what I find most useful, which is the snap grid, like that. We have a map, which for the moment isn't all that useful. If you have a large layout or on a larger scale, this will be much more useful, because then you can just have a broad overview of what the layout looks like while you're working on a smaller piece, and you can use it to zoom around for a layout, so you can modify orbits. Excuse me. Modify bits a bit more quickly. Then we have the create straight track for flexi track. So just go from there, drag it over here, and now you got a straight piece of flexi track. Then you got the create curve. You got several methods of creating curves. You got curve from end point, so you go like that. There we go. From tangent, it is like that, and basically you drag from the track to the centre. Then you got the other way around, which is from centre to here, and you go like that. And you can see that's actually too tight. Then you get one from chord, which is like that, and you drag out the middle. I should probably use that one some more. This one is a bit more complicated one. I have no. For some reason I'm doing a loop to loop. I said I'm not entirely sure how this one really works. It's a bit more. There we go, got a wiggly line. There we go, and it's still too tight. Right, we'll get rid of all that, and we don't want to save it all. Yeah, do. Right, now we've got to create a fixed, create circles basically. For a fixed radius circle, you go down to the bottom here where it says circle radius. This is also in inches, so 10.5 inches. And there we go, that is a 10.5 inch radius circle. Then you got to create from tangent and from centre as well, so very useful and easy to use. This is, actually I should probably kept that. This will create a parallel track, and you basically hold on there, and you've now got two circles. Very easy to use. This is a place turnout or sectional track. This is if you haven't got this bar of pieces here, and you just basically pick out all the pieces which you want, and it'll tell you part number, manufacturer, description, and show you a brief look of what the part looks like. And this window is far too big. There we go. This is create hand laid turnout. I have no idea how that works, and I don't really want to work out how it works because it confuses and scares me. Place it stuck on the layout. This is mainly for manufacturers who build standard layout pieces. So KT Unitrack, they tend to do things like basically pre-made buildings and all that lot. And this is for placing a turntable. It's not the same as using turntable on here, which is you actually get the part and you can. So that's a normal Pico one. This one is a generic one, which I have no idea how it works. I said if I don't use it, I don't know how it works. This is the default control which you have, which is change object properties. On set track, it will give you very brief things. On flexi track, it will give you a few more options. This is a circle track. Actually, I'll just get a straight line for you, so you've got a bit of variance. So on a straight bit track it gives you endpoint in XY and endpoint of the other one in XY as well. So you can actually specify where you want the exact track using X and Y coordinates. Length inches to a very accurate margin, an angle that's in degrees, and then you can pivot all that lot. And don't use this bit. Layer I use on a different method, so we'll get rid of that. Then we've got select track, so you can select it, and basically just so you can select it and do other things to it. This is to pan around the layout, so if you zoomed in like this, you can just drag yourself around the layout. But if you zoomed out like this, it doesn't really matter. Right, these next set of buttons need you to actually have a selected piece of track. So we'll select this piece for now. This is to move a selected piece. Pretty understandable. Rotate, so you basically click on here, extend out here, and then you can just tilt it. Where you basically start off the rotation. So if I hold here, this is mostly around the midpoint, but if you do it from a different place, from over here, it changes it according to that. This is flip, basically it's something like mirror but not duplicating. So it's basically you draw down here, that'll be like flip along this axis. I don't know why I'm pointing up the screen, you can't see my hand in relation to the screen, but it's basically along this axis is how you flip that particular selected piece. So if we let go, it'll flip it according to that. This is to delete the object, as quite understandable, you just delete it. You can also use the delete button on your keyboard, it'll do the exact same thing. This is to hide and unhide a track, which is useful for making I'm not doing that properly. I'll go to this layout. Don't want to save it. I'll save on this one. So we'll select these two pieces, then that. Hiding it makes it look like it's under a tunnel. That is now a tunnel. Very strange place to have a tunnel, because that's where its station will be. Anyway, carry on. Move selected piece. To the top of the, basically bring something forward so you can see it above other objects, and then the alternative one, which is pushing it behind. This is more to do with, don't think with track all that much, but I think with objects like buildings and stuff like that. I haven't actually used it. Let's probably have a go of it, but never mind. Deselect. Deselect, you can also use, I think it's Control D, I'm not entirely sure. Next pieces are next keys, so we'll get a bit of track there. Modify or extend track. This is for flexi track, it will modify it. Basically, it won't go beyond the start point, and so you can do like that. For curve, flexi track curves, it will continue to curve at the same radius as well, all the way around for that section. For set track pieces, it will assume that you're extending it with flexi track, and you can continue this all the way to infinity and beyond. For join two tracks, for set track, go like this, and it will, well, if there's enough track, it won't zoom both pieces off. It will zoom the lighter piece off. So if it's a singular piece or just a couple of pieces, it will connect them to the larger, something like how gravity works. Bigger mass connected to it, it won't move, and the light bits will move to that. For flexi track, it operates slightly differently. So just multiply. Let's get a gap in between these. Delete that, and we'll put a point here. Right, and say you want to connect this to here, and that's not doing it the way I wanted it because I'm using the wrong point. Right, we'll use that. There we go. It will assume that you're still going to use flexi track to continue and end off that piece. Very useful for when you basically got like got like that, two parallel tracks, and you got a pointer to connect both of them up together. Right, that's what join two tracks is. To connect two tracks, sorry, that's join. Connect is no, that was join. Yeah, that's join. Connect is no, connect is only no, zooming them to get physically connect them. Join is what I've just explained. Move label, I have no idea what that does, and I've never used it. Label description is not visible, so yeah, we'll leave that alone. Change elevations. This is quite straightforward. Don't know what hidden, computed grade, or station any of that lot means. I'll just use none and defined. So define this as 1 inch up, and we'll go over here and define this as 0. All the other pieces will sort themselves out according to what I've just set. So this will give us a next one is, excuse me, yeah. Thought I just had dinner. This is elevation profile command. So we select where the elevation started here, and click over here, and it'll give us the elevation profile. If you've got a undulating track, it will give you an undulating profile on here. So it's very useful to give a somewhat visual indication of what the layout elevation profile looks like, basically. So if it looks like your track's going wiggly wobbly like that, the line will basically give you a visual representation of that as well. Then we've got some very generic drawing, basic shapes and lines, which are very useful for if you want to separate things, let's say there and there. That's now not non-scenery, and everything else is scenery, just to help lay out things. Table heads, it basically does a thicker line, and this does the same thing as well. Again, don't know how Bends curve works, and all the other lots. You can also write on here, and it's always in very small text to make it. There you go. So a bit of text and also a note, and a note will just look like that. So you can basically leave yourself notes around the layout, and then you got a ruler going like that, and you can make the ruler disappear. Next bit is just the layers. This is just so you can select which layer you're on. You have up to 99 layers to use. I don't think you'll be able to use all that many. This is the layers which you're currently seeing. We'll go to a different layout just so I can say it in action. This is what I'm just a very long-term design for what I want to do in the attic. So that's because I'm not in the window. So here we can see multiple colours showing different layers which I'm on. You can't deselect the layer which you're currently on. So at the moment I'm on main, which is the blue ones, so that is what we don't want to disappear. But you can make the pink one disappear, the brownest, darkest one, green, red, all the other ones. So yeah, you can add more, however I'm not entirely sure. It may just be the top 5, but 5 will also do for most of your needs. If you really want to use more, you can use more really. So let's go back to this layout. You have also got other options, which so layout, that's this one. I won't go into all of these things. Also, most of these commands, which are just most of these buttons, you can also access from right clicking. So you've got all that, along with all these parts. You can access all these parts by going like this, or right clicking and selecting the category. So right click Pico N scale straight track. It will give you the Pico N scale straight track up here. So it gives you the first one of that category, right at the top here. So let's start a new one. So here we are. Right, I said all these other bits. There is more advanced things like recording macros, so you can record extra little bits. You don't need to worry about that. Display lets you turn things on and off, so color layers, you can turn that depending on what that is. Draw tunnels as either hide, dash or normal. Draw endpoints, all that lot. Draw ties, which is the track ties, the sleepers and stuff like that. I tend to leave off for the most part unless I'm about to print them. The reason I do this is because unless you've got a very, very powerful computer, and mine is decently powerful, it does lag out to your computer a decent amount, a fair amount, unless you've got a very small layout. So leave that off for the most part when you're building. If you want to print it off and make it look nice, then turn them on, print them off, turn them back off, and so on. And all these other things, I'm not entirely sure. So yes, here's the basic layout. Right, sorry about that. I thought somebody was calling me or something like that. So let's carry on. So just to build a very simple layout, we'll start with a double straight. Basically select up here, place it on here, you click on left click on where you want it to be. Always pick from one of the endpoints and just drag it with left, as long as left click is always pushed down, it'll drag it around. If you want to rotate before you place the piece, you basically right click and it'll basically act like this command. So just like that. And when you want to place a piece, you press enter, and now that's placed down. So there we go. And we're just going to do a simple loop like that, and you can see how quickly you can build a very simple loop. So let's say we want to make a second loop. So we get rid of this, get a point, and then close up that loop. And now we want to connect a piece up to here. Now, if you click on there as is, it will be pointing off in the wrong direction. What I originally used to do, and not quite correctly, is basically I used the alternative point, clicked on there, then built off there, built from where it continues off here, deleted that, then put the right piece in. You can actually do it a bit simpler way of doing that. You click on there, then you hold shift and keep clicking till it connects to the right connection point. And you can do that with every single piece. With straight track it won't really matter because it's only got 2 connection points. But you can also do that with curves. So if it's pointing the wrong direction, hold shift and it's now in the right direction. And it will continue holding it in that direction. Ooh, one more. Till there we go. And now that's a complete two loop layout. And like I said, if you hold shift, it will cycle between all connection points for that part. So with points, it's normally 3 connection points. For crossings, 4, and if you've got some really peculiar parts like a freeway point, there's 4 different connection points, and so on. So a very useful command. Another thing that you can do in this is, first of all, you can save it, which I'm not going to do because it's only a basic layout. You can print it directly from the program. So print setup is the usual thing which you get in any program. It will give you a useful thing. Printing directly from the software allows you to select basically how many sheets for to print. So like I said, if it's a large layout, you would want to print them all one to one and then place it down. This is how I did Gosport behind me. I printed all of these out separately like this, and then I basically glued them all one to one. But if you just want to design, as I said, just trying to remember all the bits which I discussed earlier in my own. This is print scale, no, 1, change it to 2, yep, makes it like that. 4, pretty much you print the entire thing. Origin is basically offsetting it if you don't want to, cut off some bits of here. And we'll just change it back down to 1. And all these other bits, print snap grid, all that lot, print rulers, all the other bits, print robot outline, all the other things. However, if you just want to print the entire layout as a single bit of paper, just so you can design a bit more in detail, you do export to bitmap. And then you print tiles, print borders, all the other lot, and tell you how big it is in pixels and how big it is in kilobytes. And then you basically continue on from there. So test, save. Just want to just so I can do it like this. Then you just go print, and it'll just print as a normal picture. And I won't do it because I don't want to waste any ink at the moment. But yeah, that's pretty much it really. You do get some extra little as I do some extra higher functions which I'm not entirely sure how to use. Like I said, you can actually make it so you can run virtualized trains around this. Ooh, not that one, I didn't want that one. Get off. So you can do turnout designer for custom points and that lot. I have no idea how that works because I've never used it. This is, I said, this is for all the rolling stock which you've got. Again, never had to use it because I keep all my rolling stock listed on a spreadsheet. You can also set up prices for all parts. So you can, if you set all these up in I would use pounds and pence. So pounds on this, however your currency works. So you can set it up all like this. It's a very labour intensive thing to do. Then you have parts list here. Apart from, I don't know, I'm sure I put in that. Go to another one, there we go. And it will basically tell you each part separately and how much it costs in total. So to make this layout, it will cost you £133.10. So that's how useful it is, and you can print that separately and save it separately as well. So yeah, very useful. So yeah, that's how to vaguely use XTrkCAD. I would recommend playing around with the software for a little bit before you design Infant Major, just so you can get the feel of how to use the program. I think there is documentation online, but I'm not entirely sure. This is the reason why I actually wanted to make this video, it's because I don't remember how much documentation there is for the program. But it's free, and I don't know if it works on tablets. I don't have a tablet to test it, but it does work on Windows, Macintosh, and also Linux. So the three main operating systems for your computer, it will run on all of them. So this is the reason why I use this, and I've been using this for years. I just used it to design Gosport twice, in fact several times, because that's not even the second time I've redesigned it, because I've had many iterations of the layout. I've used it to design my first layout, which is Redham Downs, Minstow Road, the original test track. Trying to remember all the other ones now. The beginner layout, I all used XTrkCAD, and I've never had any issues with it. I said it is a bit daunting at first, but once you got over the hurdle of learning how everything works, in fact I just remembered something which didn't work out. For sorting out your layers, you go to Manage, Layers, and you sort them out here. You can name them as many, whatever you want, pick which colour, whatever you want. So yeah, I said it's a very in-depth program which will allow you to do what you want. So, and also so what it looks like with Sen. This is normally what you get. And so it's a bit laggy even with a small layout like this, but it does look nice on paper like this. Sometimes you get a little bit of iffiness depending on parts, but also I've not really had much issue with this. So yeah, I hope you found this video. Kind of put to do my hands at the moment. Normally I'm doing something really with my camera, but yeah, hope you found this this video informative and also at least entertaining. If you have any questions, feel free to write something in the comments. If you or just feel like leave me a little help. No, thank you for making a video. Something like that. That always makes my day when I see that I've helped somebody. Like if you like, sub if you really want to sub. Do all the things which YouTube allows you to do. And hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a nice day. So take care, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye now.